Hello, gorgeous soul. Kel Gunter here with your Soul Service Astrology update for the week commencing the 16th of August, 2021. If we have not met, hello, I'm Kel. I'm a 13-sign Sidereal astrologer. I'll explain what that means in a moment. And I'm also the creator of Soul Service Astrology, which is a method and a technique to help you understand yourself deeply, take personal responsibility for your challenges or weaknesses, lean into your natural gifts and strengths, and tap into your highest purpose to be of the greatest joy and service this lifetime, because isn't that what life is about? So this is really accurate astrology, and I'm about to step into what 13-sign Sidereal astrology is if you've never encountered it before, to activate your service and imagination. Your purpose this lifetime is to serve. First, we must serve ourselves. Then that way that we serve can then help others on their path to service. And we get to do it all with a sense of joy, fun, and our imagination. So what is 13-sign Sidereal astrology? Essentially, 13-sign Sidereal astrology is astronomy. 99% of modern Western astrology is what is referred to as tropical astrology, and it doesn't take account of the wobble of the Earth's axis, which is precession, and it has locked the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere to 0 degrees Aries. That's not where the equinox falls. It actually falls at about 8 or 9 degrees Pisces at the moment. So we've shifted essentially 28 degrees backwards in comparison to the tropical astrology. So what does that mean? That means when you refer to tropical astrology, it bears no resemblance to what you can see in the sky. And that was a no-brainer for me. Once I learnt that, it was like, I'm sorry, my environment feeds me. It allows me to draw meaning and experience from my environment. The planets are part of our environment. The planets are part of our solar system. We should be observing them where they are located. And that should be fed by our developments in this modern technological scientific age by the astronomers. So that's why where I say the planets are, you can get out your astronomy app and you'll be able to refer to them in the night sky. What's going on this week? It's a pretty exciting week, actually. First up, we have Jupiter moving back into Capricorn. So up here you can see Jupiter has moved back into Capricorn. So Jupiter is still retrograde. Jupiter has the energy of the expander. If we look at the planet itself, Jupiter is the biggest planet of the solar system. It has been observable in our sky for centuries and more than likely millions of years, right? Because it is the biggest, brightest, one of the biggest and brightest objects in our sky, aside from the sun, of course. It has always been conveyed this energy of prosperity, luck, goodness. So it was called the Great Benefic. So it was always meant to bring prosperity and abundance and great things. And if we look at that from an archetypal perspective, there's that sense of expansion. And Jupiter is always associated with seeking, exploring different cultures, looking at different philosophies, seeking higher knowledge. It's not like knowledge like Mercury, learning the basics and learning some skills. This is really a deep felt sense of seeking something greater. So that's the energy of Jupiter. And as it shifts back into Capricorn, Capricorn has the energy of the leader. But you may have heard me talk about this year, but I'll reiterate it because Saturn has been in Capricorn Saturn is this little planet here. Saturn has been in Capricorn for a little while, for the last 18 months, I would say. And Jupiter met it in conjunction at the beginning of last year, the end of last year, it met it in conjunction. So there's been this essence of consolidation. And now that both Saturn and Jupiter are retrograding essentially in soul service astrology land means to review. You're going back over things, you're checking things. And I feel like this is a really important process for us in life. We're not in constant growth motion. We're not in constant doing motion. There's an ebb and flow where sometimes we're growing, sometimes we're resting, sometimes we're doing nothing, sometimes we're looking and reviewing and making changes, sometimes we're seeking out new knowledge. With this Capricorn energy that's in the collective space at the moment, and if we look at the broader collective experience, there's this essence of consolidation. There is definitely an essence of change that comes with another planet. But this is really reviewing our philosophies, reviewing our beliefs. Jupiter is very much connected to our belief system. So as it steps back into Capricorn, you may feel this shift of, you know what, I'm going to be looking at some of my beliefs. Maybe there's something that I need to consolidate. It might be that you've got a number of spiritual philosophies that you follow, and perhaps it's time to declutter that space. Maybe it's time to go in and do a review. Am I culturally appropriating any philosophies that I am integrating into my life and perhaps my business? And perhaps I need to take a deeper look at that belief or unconscious bias and make sure that I'm honoring that. So is there other things that perhaps there's other beliefs that need to be consolidated or cleared out? And the reason for this is us stepping into our leadership. So you will have mastery and expertness in some particular area of your life. And I feel this drive at the moment, and I can feel it in my life, that I know I used to operate a certain way 10, 15 years ago, particularly when social media it didn't exist essentially 10, 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I think it didn't exist. And I can definitely see how the abundance of information that we have now can make people that really love to seek information, consume information, but not embody it or integrate it or consolidate it. So I would encourage you to look at your core philosophies, your core beliefs, and start to consolidate and maybe clear out and declutter and start really stepping more fully into your mastery and start owning you as the expert, and only you know that. So that's what's happening on Monday. Let's shift to Tuesday. As you can see, there's not a great deal difference between Monday and Tuesday, so I'm not going to talk too much about what's going on Tuesday. Let's shift to Wednesday, because Wednesday there is some exciting things happening. And in particular, it's down here with Mars and Mercury, both in Leo. So, and they're conjunct. So that means they're merging together. It's a merging of energy. Mercury is our mind. It is our communicator. Mars is action and energy. So there's action and energy behind us communicating, behind us speaking our mind, maybe expressing our mind, because Leo is the creator and really how we desire to express. So you may feel a bit, maybe there might be a little bit of hot under the collar. I really want to share my peace of mind. I really want to let this out. The fusion here between these two energies is to make sure that, one, you're not just blurting stuff out and you're going to hurt someone. So Mars, if it was really angry and cranky and wanted to blurt out and express your opinion and express themselves, they might blurt stuff out and hurt someone with their words. The idea here is to filter it through the brain a little bit. The brain will go, okay, that's probably not going to hurt anyone. Alternatively, if you're not listening to your Mars and you're all in your head, what could happen is Mercury could go, well, I'm not saying any of that. I'm not doing any of that. No. So the idea is to merge the energy here. If you feel the call to do something or to express yourself, however that may be, because we're in a really creative time at the moment, and you'll hear me reiterate this over the course of the video, and the last 2 weeks I felt this energy coming in and it's been building. You get to have fun. You get to play while you do things. You get to be excited. things get to be like you're looking at it like in awe and wonderment and like with fresh eyes, like a child, right? You get to do that. But you don't get to hurt people, and you don't get to put people down, and you don't get to be a crazy narcissist or egotist, which is what Mars can do in shadow. Now, Mercury in light aspect, if it's working with that, it can sort of calm the Mars down. Okay, calm down. We're going to express ourselves, but let's just think about this for a minute before we go bleh. But Mars can also help fire the mind up, because mind might be like, oh, I don't know how to really do this. What do people think of me? Oh, this is something new. I'm putting my energy and I'm putting my creativity and I'm putting my art out there. People are probably going to think I'm absolutely crazy. And Mars might be just like, no, this is us. This is how we have to express ourselves. It doesn't really matter what anyone thinks. Focus in on this is you, right? So they merge together and they can work together as a team for you to express yourself and get your creativity out there. Because the more people that we have stepping into their creativity, the more people that we have stepping into an authentic expression led by their heart, and the more people using their imagination and sharing it with the world, we start to change the vibration in the world. The vibration in the world at the moment is fear and division, and we need to counter that with creativity and inspiration. And I'm on a drive to do that. I've been fired up with something that's happened in my world just recently to make sure that I'm holding that as a piece in my world. So that is Wednesday, the 18th of August. Let's move to Thursday, the 19th of August. So first of all, it's very obvious. You can see a nice big blue triangle there in the chart. You can see this nice big blue triangle. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But first of all, I want to talk about Uranus over here in Aries. Now, we have Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, Neptune is retrograde in Aries, in Aquarius, not in Pisces. Chiron's retrograde, and now the last outer planet that had not been retrograde is now stationing retrograde. Uranus is the visionary. It's the seeker of freedom and change. It wants to unbind us from expectations. The warrior, which is Aries, it's basically on a mission to do that, right? And it's been moving forward, and I think you can probably feel into the changes that are coming in the world. And yes, there is a lot of pain and suffering and struggle going with that, because most change is like that, because we've not changed that way before. Now we have the visionary warrior, Uranus, starting to move backwards. So at a collective, there's going to be some review of the changes that we're making, I would like to think. On a personal level, how can you use this energy? You can review your vision. Your vision will usually drive your mission. So whatever your mission here is, and you might have a why statement, why you're doing certain things, I would really encourage you over the next few months that we still have this retrograde energy, and yes, it's a few months, to really look at why you're doing certain things. And it's really why you're doing certain things, because it's Aries. Why are you doing that? What freedom are you seeking? How do you want to integrate these changes? What is your vision? Have you visioned it? Have you put it on paper? Are you able to say, someone's vision is quite easy for them to say, like my vision is for the planet to be privileged first, and for everyone to come and realize again, to reconnect that we are part of the planet, that they're the ecology. We are the planet. That is my vision, and it drives my mission. So that's Uranus moving retrograde. Now let's have a look at this other aspect pattern, which is called a grand trine. We have Uranus trining the moon, and this is only active on the 19th of August because it's involving the moon. So as soon as the moon moves, this trine will be off. So it's only going to be active on the 19th of August. It's a fire trine. Moon is in Sagittarius, and we have this conjunction between Mercury and Mars down here in Leo. So it's a grand fire trine on the 19th of August. So get fired up. more play, experiment, do something new. So there is this liberation of our emotions. We get to liberate our emotions, liberate yourself with your feelings. Allow the warrior space, which is what I just spoke about. Allow the warrior and the change agent some space to review the vision. And then down here, allow the mind to do something playful. Allow your action today to be frivolous. You get to have fun. You get to have excitement, and you get to integrate play into whatever you need to do and focus on and create. So that's the 19th of August. Let's move to Friday, the 20th of August. We can see the opposition up here forming between, or actually it's almost exact on the 20th of August, between Jupiter and the Sun. So as you can see, Jupiter's playing quite a big role this week, and also Uranus is playing quite a big role this week. Both quite very, they like to change things up. They're willing to go into different spaces. They're willing to go into uncomfortable spaces. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Jupiter is the expander operating in Capricorn now. It's seeking to consolidate. It's seeking philosophies and beliefs that it's willing to consolidate down towards its mastery and its leadership. So there might be a period of review there. Maybe you're like, oh, maybe I'm not seeking so much information now. Maybe I'm really just looking at everything that I've got, right? In opposition with the Sun over here in Leo, it's happy. The Sun is happy in Leo. Oh, I want to create. I want to express myself. I want to do new things. I want to experiment. This opposition energy is finding a balance between the review and the consolidation and the expression and the creation and excitement and play. So up here, we could get potentially bogged down in some very mundane things and not feel very joyful about it. Or over here, we just go, stuff that. I'm just going to keep over here all new ideas, creating new things, letting things go out with not much thought and consideration for our mastery and the core methods that underpin us. So with this opposition energy, you're trying to find a balance. You're trying to find a balance. Okay, I'm going to let my creator out. I'm going to let this have its moment, excitement and all that sort of thing. And then I'm also going to make sure that I'm not just going down the creation path and not doing the things that I sort of know I need to do to really consolidate towards my mastery. There's so much change happening at the moment. And it's a real opportunity to declutter not only physical things out of our life, but also mental things, because we are bombarded with so much information, and Jupiter's just been in Aquarius. So it's gotten a whole heap of information. Now it's the time to sift through that and go, what's staying or what's going? What starts to become part of my philosophy and belief system? And you can do that in a creative way. That's how you get the seesaw to balance here. So that's coming in on the 20th of August. Let's move to the 21st of August, which is a Saturday. And the aspect that is really obvious here, and it's part of the grand trine, is Uranus trining down here with Mars and Mercury. So this hangs around for a little bit longer than the grand trine. You can see the grand trine's gone, but this Uranus energy down to Mercury and Mars stays. Now, trine energy is ease. That's why the overall flavor of this week is experiment, play, have fun. It's really well starred at the moment from an archetypal perspective. There's this call to try new things. There's this call that, okay, we want to change. We want to break bad habits. We want to perhaps remove expectations from our lives. But to do that, we might need to try new things and experiment. So on the 21st of August, on Saturday, it's a Saturday, I would encourage you to do something that you've been wanting to do for a long time, that you've been putting off. So that's that action energy down here. It's to do something that you've really wanted to do secretly in your heart. That's Leo. To explore part of your vision, part of some of the changes that you want to bring and make, and how you're going to maybe act to start to make those changes. But it gets to be playful, and it still gets to be an experiment, right? So remember, it's an experiment. When we're balancing this out here, you can just sort of, talk Jupiter. It's right, Jupiter. Jupiter won't mind. Jupiter likes to seek and be curious and try new things. But it's more that, okay, we're going to do this, but it may not become part of our core methodology. It's just we're giving it a go, right? So that's Saturday, the 21st of August. On Sunday, the 22nd of August, we have a full moon. So I'm just going to move this into hours so that you can see the full moon exact. It's exact around 8:30, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the 22nd of August. And as you can see, as the moon is becoming full, it's moved from Capricorn into Aquarius. So the moon is full on the 22nd of August in Aquarius. Okay, so when the moon is full, it's reached fullness, perhaps something you've been creating or making or working on, a task or a project has reached fullness. So you're in full creator mode. The sun is illuminating you. Now there's feelings and emotions connected to that. If we're putting something out there that has our heart and soul in it, the sun's shining on it, and we've invested feelings and emotions into it and it's illuminated, we're going to start to be stepping into this creator mode where we might be feeling a little bit vulnerable. There's been a process that you've gone through, an emotional process, and an intellectual process that you've been through to get you to that point. And this is in relation to our vision, and it comes back to the energy of this week. We're looking at our vision. So look at your vision for your life, perhaps for your business, your service, your career. And is there any changes you want to make? Perhaps that's been reflected in a smaller part of the work that you do in this world. Regardless of what that is, it might just be looking after children or looking after the home or tending to your garden. It doesn't have to be big things, but something out of that may have revealed to you, okay, so this is part of my vision, but you know what? That aspect of it is not working. So is there something that doesn't light you up anymore? There's something that used to light you up and feed your vision, but now there's something in there that's not lighting me up anymore. These are the questions to ask on the lead up and around the full moon. And then you get to release them. You get to, with love, release them. Now, this, as you can see, is quite close to Jupiter. They're in different signs though, but it is very close to Jupiter. So what belief do you need to change about yourself? Because this is the moon we're talking about here. What belief is not supporting you anymore? And that's part of the work that Jupiter's doing in Capricorn. It's looking at its belief system, what stays, what goes. So this full moon will actually sort of kickstart the Jupiter process of reviewing the beliefs that no longer are part of me. They're no longer part of my vision. So the reason we want to do this, and there's a Uranus energy moving through the chart because Uranus rules Aquarius, which is where the full moon is on Sunday. So there's this idea that there might be things that we need to release. There's changes that we need to make. Why? It's all towards our freedom. Our freedom from our inner expectation. We place so many inner expectations on us, and that we think it's the external world placing expectations on us. And there are expectations from the external world. But if you can start with the inner world and remove those expectations that we're put on ourselves, then we start to step towards our freedom with no expectations, and we start to unleash our brilliance. We start to unleash our imagination and our visions into the world, and we start to change the very fabric and the frequency and the velocity and the vibration of what is happening in our world at the moment, and we can start to elevate ourselves. We can start to vision a new future, because that's what needs to happen now. There is still hope. We can still make all the changes that we need, but we can't do it with division. But we can do it with inspiration and imagination and a drive towards shining our brilliance into the world to inspire others to do exactly the same thing. So that is the power of the full moon that is coming up. And it's a very powerful week, and there's lovely energy here to raise us, that fire energy to raise us up, to fire us up to the changes that we need to make in our lives, in our collective lives. It gets to be fun, and we get to inspire each other, and we get to use our imagination, and we don't have to stay down in the bog with suffering and division. That is me for this week. I certainly hope you've enjoyed it. That was just amazing. I really enjoyed how this week's astrology came through. If you would love to work with me, I would love to work with you. You could go to kellygunter.com and check out the ways that you can work with me. I have availability for online sessions to have your birth chart evaluated. I have the option where you can add on looking at your transits as well. And if you're not sure, there is a mini evaluation in there where you would be provided with your birth chart. You would also be provided with a 20-minute recorded download from me in relation to your birth chart, the main parts of your chart. Then if you went, yep, I want to upgrade to the full session one-on-one with me in a private session on Zoom, then I take the price of the mini session off the full package. So if that's something that interests you, kellygunter.com, and I would love to serve you. Have a beautiful day. Bye.